Okay, everybody, this is, we're going to introduce Eric Kelley, and Eric is our business development manager with Globus, Osmos, Monograms, and Avalon Waterways. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Eric.
Thank you very much, Sherry. I just want to say how wonderful it is to be presenting tonight. I think I've known Sherrie and Charlie a few years, I think.
32.
Was it the second? Was I the second rep to walk in your door, or
Yes.
Yes.
back in 1987 or 88?
88.
88. Oh my gosh, a lot of water under the keel since then.
Yep.
So what I'm going to talk about tonight is our new America release program. We just rolled out some of our new programs for the U.S. One of the things that we did was years ago, we rolled out a program called Off the Beaten Piazza to reintroduce exciting destinations in Italy. Italy is a key component for what Globus does, and it was hugely successful. Italy had been down, and within 1 year, we increased the business for Italy by 44%, which is a huge number for us because we do so much Italy. We felt we found an avenue to roll out new destinations in some of the countries that we had already been traveling to, and then we came up, we'll take the cobblestones less traveled. That was done in 19. This year, we rolled out the Mediterranean. That has been somewhat of a flat year, obviously. But next year, we were lucky in the sense that we were already planning on rolling out Undiscovered USA. And with the current environment, a lot of people are quite interested in that because they want to stay maybe a little closer to home on the initial stages of travel. And this program just adds to the existing tours that we have. And we're really, really excited about this. So let's see if we can get moving forward here. So just kind of a recap of who we are as a company. We have 511 vacations in 73 countries with four different brands. Globus is our first-class escorted product. Cosmos is our affordable budget escorted product. Monograms is independent, and Avalon is our river cruise product. So we have quite a portfolio of travel companies and travel destinations. Escorted touring, we started in 1928, so we've been around for 92 years, so we're a very experienced company. These are the reasons why escorted touring is so popular, and some of the things we do that make it first class. So many included experiences that we add. The top-notch transportation. Our motor coaches are wonderful. Our motor coaches are large enough to hold 55 passengers. We only put 44. Our hotels are centrally located. They're superior first class or above. I think the center one is the most important one, is the VIP access. The ability to get into the must-see sites without waiting, get in, get out, actually gives you more time. That tags into the freedom circle there. By being able to get in and out of the destination, you're on to the next site. So you've seen the Coliseum, now you're on to the Forum, and you have a chance to really see more and do more when you're on an escorted tour. The ability to have that no waiting in line. Our travel experts are terrific. They've been with us an average of 14 years. And an excellent tour guide makes for an excellent tour. Wi-Fi in the motor coaches, really important these days to have connectivity and be able to share vacation experiences via social media. So that's the real key components of an escorted tour. Gives you an idea of one of our motor coaches there, our branded motor coaches. And again, only 44 passengers on those motor coaches, but again, large enough to hold 55. So lots of leg room. I know Charlie's tall, I'm 6'3", so nice to have a little extra leg room there. And it's outstanding motor coach drivers. How they get to some of the places is just remarkable. And again, the Wi-Fi in the motor coaches. So this is, sorry, people trying to reach out to me. So this is the program for North America, far from the ordinary, close to home. So our goal was to add more destinations in the United States, add new destinations, excite our past passengers in these wonderful destinations, And this was before we even knew that COVID was going to happen and travel was going to slow down. But as we revamp and start back up again, we figured people are going to stay closer to home. So this is really right on time for us. We couldn't have been more timely with this type of program. Go further, not farther, with our family, and the family is a Globus family with all 4 brands. Lots of different destinations we're going. We're going to go from the Northeast to the West Coast, to the Southeast, to the Midwest, Canada. So lots of really exciting additional itineraries to our ever-expanding portfolio in North America. Right home, about home. I think this is really great with the social media, being able to share these destinations right in our backyard. So many people tend to travel worldwide, and as we slow down maybe a little bit, we don't want to travel as far. That's typically when the U.S. or North America becomes more of a destination. But in the short term, I think it's going to be quite popular. So we're very excited about this opportunity. I love this picture. This looks just like the Smokies there between us and Nashville. I'm in Atlanta. Touring is a great way to see and discover North America. And this is our on-trip assurance. This program really talks about, let's see, move this down a little bit there. So I'm going to go over some of the touring safety protocols we have. So we talk about safe and warm welcome. We will enact new tour check-in procedures and pre-trip health screenings to offer guests a safe start to their journey, including adherence to social distancing requirements. Blending cultural proximity with social distance. We will ensure safe distances for our guests throughout the journey, on coach, and during excursions. This includes providing masks for our guests' use at any time where social proximity could be an issue, as well as the possibility of reducing group sizes if required. And wireless listening technology, including our Go Beyond devices in Europe, enables safe distances between our guests and other travelers on excursions. Focus on guest and team member health. To ensure the health environment for our team and our guests, we will conduct regular temperature checks for both guests and our team. And when necessary, masks will be worn by our team when with our guests. Touching hearts and not hands. Traveling with the Globus family of brands removes many of the touch points of travel, included luggage handling, check in and out, expedited entry into attractions, and more. We are further reducing the risk with hands-free services, including all self-services replaced by staff, including buffet meals replaced with table service. We will also ensure hand sanitizing is available throughout each trip on coach and in hotels. And a commitment to clean. As a part of our commitment to clean, we will be requiring enhanced cleaning procedures with our hotel partners on our motor coaches, vehicles, and throughout every trip, including additional daily disinfecting procedures that go above and beyond our already strict health and safety procedures. Partners in discovery and in health. The Globus family of brands has strict health and safety protocols, which have been in place for years, focused on ensuring all aspects of our operation, from vehicles and equipment used on our trip to excursions and hotel procedures. This process will continue with new elevated health and safety checks to maintain our promise that each touch point of our tours and cruises are considered in our commitment to guest and team member well-being. So I wanted to share that because it's so very important that we have information to share with our customers, how we will be moving forward and adjusting the safety protocols for our guests. So I think that's very important. I want to make sure I got all the information out on that. So let's talk about some of the different itineraries we have. This is the Peace of Mind travel program that I'll read in depth at the end, but just want to let you know that this is a great program moving forward. And I think this looks like the shambles in Britain. I love that picture there too. So these are the new itineraries for North America in addition to our existing portfolio. Quebec in depth with the Gaspé Peninsula is 11 days. French Canada, beautiful area there. And as you see there, this is going to be round trip Montreal. Start with 2 nights in Montreal, move up north Wherever you see a number, that's the number of nights you stay. If you see a circle, that's just a stop. So you're working all the way up to Florian National Park after a stay in Pierce Rock and Bonaventure Island National Park. 2 nights there, and then work your way back down, working your way towards Quebec City onto Montreal. So you have a chance to do a little cruise in Saguenay Fjord. So a wonderful area up in Quebec City and Montreal. I think Quebec City, we had a sales meeting up there many years ago, and it really had a wonderful European feel to it. And they have a winter carnival that they do up there too that has been, excuse me. Phone never stops. So the next one is it's time to cross the bridge. This is a New England and the Hudson Valley, 10 days. I love that picture with the fall in New England. This starts in Boston, works your way back down to New York. As you see here, 2 nights in Boston gives you a chance to do Concord, Lexington, and Salem before you head north towards Portland. One night in Portland, then you're on to Freeport, over to Jackson, Montpelier, Ludlow. You get the chance to do a little Lake Champlain cruise, 2 nights in Lake Placid. Always great to go where the Olympics were in 1980, through Saratoga Springs, and of course the Berkshires in Massachusetts are wonderful. Down to West Point, Tarrytown, and down to New York. You can see on the right some of the must-see sites that you'll be able to visit while you're on that tour. Taste some wonderful maple syrup from Vermont. Nubble's Lighthouse is one of the most photographed lighthouses in the U.S. It's in every brochure about New England. And then, of course, you have a revolutionary meal at the historic Concord Colonial Inn. The inn is celebrating its 300th anniversary, or celebrated in 2016. So a nice New England itinerary that we've added. One a little closer to home for us, music to your ears, bourbon bridles and bluegrass. This is an 8-day tour, and this starts in Louisville, ends up in Nashville. Yeah, I think it probably ends up right down in Brentwood. Who knows? Might be down there. But Louisville, a chance to start there, and then you end up to Frankfurt, 2 nights in Lexington, get over to the horse country, down through Asheville, and absolutely wonderful in Asheville. Lots of microbreweries popping up in Asheville, kind of an eclectic community in the mountains, really a fun place to go visit. Go through the Smoky Mountain National Park, down to Cherokee, work your way out of North Carolina, come down to Chattanooga. And one of my favorite cities in Tennessee, when I was living in Nashville and rekindled the love with my wife, we used to meet in Chattanooga, and that was before the aquarium was built, and now there's wonderful restaurants downtown, great hotels, just a very pretty city, and it just gets prettier every day. And then you end up in Nashville, and then so many things to do in Nashville with, as you guys know, all the music and all the wonderful sights there. But on the right, again, you get to see some of the different things you get to do. Get to go to the Buffalo Trace Distillery, wonderful bourbon there. And then on down to when you're in the horse country, Old Friends Thoroughbred Retirement Farm, where they have the 200 rescue horses there. And just a great place to see where these retired racehorses have a chance to kind of enjoy the last years of their life. And we do this wonderful farm-to-table dinner at Antler Inn Village while you're visiting Biltmore Estates and Gardens. So a really nice tour. And again, the ability to stay close to home is really attractive about some of these tours that we have. The West Coast continues to be a real popular destination for us, all the tours we have through Canada. This is a Southern California Charms. It's a 10-day itinerary. Starting in Beverly Hills, or Los Angeles, either one there. I guess they're both right next to each other there. 2 nights in Beverly Hills, work your way down to San Juan Capistrano. 2 nights in San Diego. You're down in Coronado, which is a beautiful place to visit. Up to Temecula, go to Joshua Tree National Park, one of the newer national parks. You stay in Palm Desert, visit Palm Springs. Bit of a long motor coach ride up to Paso Robles from there, visit Pismo Beach, Santa Barbara for 2 nights, and then work your way back to Los Angeles. And what's nice here is a chance to visit the Joshua Tree National Park, do a wonderful, exhilarating 4-wheel drive tour through the national park. And you have a chance to do a wine tasting in Temecula, and have a chance to go to the old part of San Diego, which is really fun to be down there and visit some of the old restaurants and bar section there. And looks like have a margarita tasting there, which would be a good way to spend the evening in San Diego. Got us down in the Caribbean already. So another one that we do, and this leads me into our relationship with the National Park Foundation. Before 2016, before the centennial, they reached out to all of the tour operators because they wanted to find someone to help promote the national parks and become a partner in promoting the National Park Foundation, and they chose us. We have been really, really happy with that opportunity. Any passengers that do one of our Go Parks trips, and they're listed in all of our catalogs as a Go Parks, we give money back to the National Park Foundation, and it's a great way for us to help support that organization, and it gives us a little bit of clout when we're trying to get more hotel space in some of the national parks. So we're very, very happy about that relationship with the National Park Foundation. So this is the Lost Canyons of the Southwest. It's a 9-day tour. This starts in Phoenix and ends in Lost Wages, I like to call it. But you start in Phoenix, 2 nights, visit Scottsdale with a stop. Then you work your way up north to the Montezuma Castle National Monument, 2 nights in Sedona, and then you get a chance to do the Verde Canyon Railroad. This is out of Jerome, and there's 2 nice rail trips here on this tour. And then you head up northeast towards Meteor Crater National Landmark, stop in Winslow, and Canyon de Chelly National Monument. That's a nice one because you do a 4-wheel tour drive also in that park. Work your way down to 2 nights in Williams, and from here you'll go up and take the Grand Canyon Railroad into the Grand Canyon National Park. So 2 nice rail programs. Then from there you head up to Las Vegas, stop at Hoover Dam and Boulder City, and end up in Vegas where you can see a show or donate some money. But what's nice about any of our tours, even if you're in a group, you can stay extra nights on the front, extra nights on the back, and really be able to extend your vacation if there's a city on the front or back side that you'd like to see a little bit more of. Some of the nice features of this are on the right, that Verde Canyon Railroad since 1912. Just a beautiful view from the train. Montezuma's Castle National Monument, a great preserved dwellings there from the indigenous tribes there from 1100 to 1425. And then in Canyon de Chelly, as I mentioned, the Navajo guide will take you on a 4-wheel backcountry vehicle drive. Really a great opportunity to get off the road and experience that destination. So very, very fun tour there. Lots of good things to enjoy. Another tour that we have for Alaska. We do quite a bit of Alaska. We partner with many cruise lines around the globe. Holland American Alaska, we use NCL in Hawaii, Celestial Cruises in the Greek Isles. But this one is a new tour that we're adding. It's 12 days as long. It covers a lot of destinations that you can never get to if you were doing an ocean cruise and doing the Inside Passage all the way up. But this starts and ends in Anchorage. You head south to Whittier on the coast, have a chance to do a cruise in Prince William Sound, see the glaciers calving, or chance to see whales. Absolutely love that destination before you head up for one night in Valdez. Excuse me. Stop in Talk, I should say, and then head down 2 nights in Whitehorse. Gives you a chance to go down Skagway, which is a real popular stop for the big cruise ships, old mining town. And then From there, you head back up to Whitehorse, head through the Yukon Territory, end up in Dawson City, go through the top of the World Highway, all the way up to Fairbanks. Now, I like this because now you get to hop on the train after 2 nights in Fairbanks, head down to Denali Park for another 2 nights. So you'll get to see, be on the dome train, seeing the spectacular sights and scenery and beautiful mountains of Alaska, and then a chance to see Denali. Hopefully it'll poke itself out amongst the clouds there, but really breathtaking scenery in Alaska. My lucky days at Princess, I had a chance to visit that, and I hope to get back there one day. So, and then you end up in Anchorage, and here you'll get a chance on the right to see some of the highlights that you get to enjoy while you're there. So a 3-mile, up close along the 3-mile face of Mears Glacier, eagles, whales, mountain goats, dolphins, sea lions, etc. You get to do the Alaska Railroad down to Denali National Park. Again, just spectacular scenery. And then you have a chance to stop at the Iditarod headquarters, which is famous for the dog sled. We do a special tour up to the Iditarod. So if you want to go up and enjoy that, we are still doing the Iditarod, and we're real pleased with that. You get to go to the Mushers Ball, which is kind of fun to visit and experience that. Here's one with Western Canada with the Inside Passage. So we're still up in the Northwest. Great itinerary there. This is a start in Vancouver area, and then you get over to Victoria, and then you head north up to Port Hardy. Then you take a cruise up through the Inside Passage towards Prince Rupert, take the rail line over to Prince George, visit Mount Robeson, 2 nights in Jasper National Park, go through the Columbia Icefield, and now it really gets pretty down through Lake Louise, Banff National Park, and then you end up in Calgary. But the 2 nights in Lake Louise, we use the Fairmont properties up there, just the best properties up there, and that beautiful teal green water reflects that beautiful blue color, blue-green color. And you'll see the must-see sites on the right from an Explorer all-terrain vehicle designed for glacier travel, a chance to traverse the Columbia Icefield, embark on an Inside Passage cruise where you see the wonderful mountains, waterfalls, and all the wildlife that's in Alaska. And then overnight in Prince Rupert, the oldest canning village in British Columbia, known for the halibut capital of the world. And I saw one of the halibuts on the wall at a lodge in, where was it? Down the Kenai. 400-pound halibut on the wall. Now, the record is 460 pounds. And they say it's like pulling up a refrigerator full of water. But there's nothing better than halibut fingers in Alaska. My gosh, that is wonderful seafood there. So a really great itinerary there. A chance to see the coast and also some inland destinations that are absolutely gorgeous. The coast is clear. So this is the Pacific Northwest, moving a little bit south. Now we're back in the U.S. This is the Cosmos Tour with our budget Escorted product. And this starts in Seattle, works its way down to Portland, and you see the itinerary there. So you go from Seattle to Leavenworth over to Yakima, stop in Hood River, 2 nights in Bend, Oregon, stop in Crater Lake National Park, 1 night in Medford, Florence, 1 night in Newport, chance to go to Cape Mears, and then you go to Tillamook, which is really terrific for its cheese. You get to go to the cheese factory and do a little tasting there. That's always fun. And then up to Astoria and down to Portland. And then you'll see the must-see sites on the right, the Crater Lake visit, see the Oregon Dunes National Recreation Area, and then you have a chance to go on a dune buggy ride, and the wonderful seafoods all along the coast, especially in Newport. So a plate full of Dungeness crab sounds pretty good to me right now. So another one here on the East Coast, I like this because this covers quite a bit. Ventures down into the Blue Ridge Mountains and heads up to northeast, and a lot of really great history on this tour. Here you see it's in and out of Washington D.C. Start with the 1 night in Washington. You head up to Gettysburg. On my to-do list, go into Gettysburg, and then head south, Harper's Ferry, another historic related to the Civil War, historic area there. And then through West Virginia to Shenandoah National Park, one night in Beckley, over to Charleston. And then you get down to Kentucky again. So you're going to do the Kentucky Horse Park, go down to Hodgsonville, Bardstown, back to Lexington at that point in time. And then you'll start heading down 2 nights in Gatlinburg, beautiful part of the Smokies there. One from there, you head over to the so you're 2 nights in Gatlinburg, stop in Great Smokies, then over to Asheville for 1 night, which is wonderful. And then Mount Airy, kind of what they modeled Mayberry after, up to Lexington, and then to Monticello, Richmond, and of course Colonial Williamsburg. Great stop there, 2 nights in Williamsburg. Stop in Mount Vernon on your way back up to Washington, D.C. for another night. And then you get a chance to learn about Kentucky Straight Bourbon, the Kentucky Horse Park, where Man of War and Secretariat got the Triple Crown. And then, of course, Gettysburg and the famous site where Abraham Lincoln did the Gettysburg Address. A wonderful East Coast tour, in and out of one city. Again, maybe a destination where it's possibility to drive up to, start the tour, and do the whole tour, and then end up working your way back. So a really long, it's a bit of a long tour, but it covers quite a bit. So some of the new things that we're doing, the age restriction has dropped to 5. I'm glad we've kind of done this because we really certainly are doing quite a bit of multi-generational groups. Grandparents are traveling quite a bit with their kids, and their ability to take the younger grandkids is become more and more popular, and we're glad we've lowered the age from 8 to 5. These are some of the travel promos that we have now, so it's a good opportunity to start planning for 2021. And you can save 10% on the Globus North America and European vacations. And Cosmos has $100 per person savings for America and European vacations. So there's always promos out there with our different brands. And there are going to be some spectacular ones moving forward as we gear up to welcome back all the passengers that rebooked from this year to next year, and all the ones that are already booked for next year also. So we anticipate next year being a real busy year for travel. We're just hoping to get through the short-term mess so that we can, everybody can get out there and start seeing the world again. So I want to get near the end here and talk about the peace of mind travel, which is really, really quite important. And this is something that we've adopted through this trials and tribulations of the COVID-19 situation. And we, for next year, and I'm going to read this so that I don't get it all wrong, but it's a wonderful program providing lots of flexibility to our customers. When the world is ready, we will be ready to deliver the world to travelers. Risk-free, hassle-free, worry-free, and strings-free with our new 2021 Peace of Mind travel plan. This complimentary plan will be attached to all 2021 vacation bookings, giving travelers like you the flexibility to move vacations to any other 2021 or 2022 date, destination, itinerary, or even another brand in our vast travel portfolio. No penalties, no problem, as long as a booking is moved before final payment date. That's a huge situation for us. And a lot of flexibility for our customers. With our 2021 Peace of Mind travel plan, we are helping you ensure the money you've invested with us is yours and your travels take you exactly where you want to go when you're ready. So I think that is us thinking outside the box, providing lots of flexibility to our travelers. So just in case things pop up or situations arise, you can change that vacation within right at final payment. And that's 90 days with Avalon, 60 days with Globus. And at that point, you can move it, no penalty, to another vacation next year or even the year after. So I think that's a wonderful plan. I'm glad that our executives at the company decided to go that route. And And we've been around 92 years. We hope to be around another 92. And these are types of things you need to do to make that happen. So with that, I think that we've covered the new North America program and some of the new things that we've had. And I know, Sherrie, are you going to share some stuff with us?
I can. Leanne, first let me ask this. And do you guys have any questions?
So you don't have any tours going this year. They're all next year, correct?
Yes, after August. We were going to start up in August. That was our first thing that we were going to do. But there were some difficulties with the rules with Alaska. They wanted a 3-day, they wanted a test for COVID 3 days, a negative test 3 days prior to arrival in Alaska. And a lot of folks, it's tough to get a test and get it back within 3 days and be able to go to Alaska. There's still some quarantine issues with Hawaii, and Yellowstone's making up their own rules. So we wanted to open back up, but we aren't going to do that until we know for sure that our customers are safe and they can go to the places that they want to see. We don't want to go to the Grand Canyon and not see the Grand Canyon. So we need to make sure that we're providing the vacation that we are selling. And until states or destinations are up and running, we were ready to go. They weren't. So unfortunately, we canceled August, but we are scheduled to open everything up worldwide in September 1. And that includes all of U.S. For the remainder of the year, and then all of our tours worldwide for next year, of course.
Leanne, we've had the pleasure to book ocean-going cruises for you several times in the past. Was there anything, any destination or itinerary in here that especially appealed to you?
Well, there were several that Tom is here with me as well that we were talking about that. I noticed were some of them from Globus and some of them were from Cosmos. Is that it?
That is correct. Yes, ma'am. And we have quite a long list of portfolio of Globus North America and Cosmos North America. These are just the new tours for next year. So some of these aren't available this fall, but all of these will be available in our brochure next year, in addition to all the other ones that we do, which there is a lot here in the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
That's just a small taste of those. Those are just new ones.
Yeah, the one that Leanne, the one that Sherrie and I did was to the national parks, and it started in Rapid City, South Dakota, went up through the Badlands and some things. Mm-hmm. And I checked off 6 things on a 9-item bucket list on one trip. And as Eric said, these are totally new programs over and above the things that Globus and Cosmos have offered for years. So don't think this is all that they have to offer. There's so much more than we saw here.
Oh, they do. You can even do Mackinac Island in Michigan. You can do, I'm sitting here looking at their brochure. There's so much stuff out west to the Rockies, to all along the East Coast, in the Midwest.
You got that Nashville, Memphis, New Orleans music itinerary that I love a lot too.
If you all want, I've got some pictures that I can show you of our trip that we did on the national parks. If you've got a few minutes, I'll be glad to show you.
All right.
Eric, if you'll quit sharing your screen, then I can share mine.
Good, because I want to see these too.
Hey.
There we are.
There we are. Okay, let me get this up here.
Well, there I am.
Just so that you can get an idea, we started in Rapid City, South Dakota, and Rapid City is a really unusual little town. It's called the City of Presidents, and there's even a museum of presidents there. The architecture, I think, is what really caught our eye, and you'll see all these really unusual buildings like you see on that picture on the left. The Firehouse Brewery, that was an old firehouse that has been turned into a microbrewery, and I don't even know how many microbreweries they have in Rapid City, but there's a lot, I can tell you that. On every street corner, you're going to find these life-size bronze statues of the different presidents. There's Teddy Roosevelt, there's Lincoln, but there's one of every single president. So they're really, really neat to see. You'll also see that there's Andrew Jackson right in front of the Mount Rushmore Crazy Horse sign. You're also close enough to Sturgis, which is where the big Harley Davidson annual, what is it called, Charlie? I don't even know. Where they
I can't remember, but it's 500,000 bikers.
Wow.
I think it's just Sturgis. Just call it Sturgis.
Yeah, it is. And it's right outside. It's about 25 miles out of Rapid City. We had a friend of mine that I went to high school with who is a big Harley nut. And he rented a car and went out to Sturgis just because he wanted to say he had been there. But the picture that you see on the right is the 1/300 scale model of Crazy Horse. Now, Crazy Horse, this is it. Crazy Horse, this just the face is all they have done right now. They have been carving this since, when was it, Charlie? 1920 something?
I don't remember.
But they're still saying it's going to be another 100 years before this thing's finished.
Wow.
The interesting part is all of this back in here is where his headdress will be flowing. And then you're going to go to Mount Rushmore. Now, Mount Rushmore, the whole Mount Rushmore will fit on the face of Crazy Horse, to tell you how big that is. So the day we happened to get out there, it was absolutely beautiful and thoroughly enjoyed going to see all of this. And Charlie, I'm gonna let you talk about Deadwood, because this was the reason we did this trip, because he wanted to go to Deadwood.
Deadwood was an HBO series 20 years ago, and it chronicled this gold rush city and the rough and tumble way that people lived, and the violence and everything else of it. And I had to see it. And this sign is at one end of the town. The thing that's interesting is that the population of Deadwood is 1,200 people, and they have sometimes 10,000 people a day come through there. But it's interesting because in interacting with the people in Deadwood, it's not hard to see that they're not that far removed from the rough and tumble people of the 1870s. It's a hard living bunch of folks. This is me, and this is the stairs on the left-hand side go down to the place where Wild Bill Hickok was shot in the back, and it's elevated now because they filled in to elevate the sidewalk, and because of flooding and some things. But they charged you $10 a person to go down there, and I'm cheap enough that I said I didn't want to go down there.
Aces and eights.
Aces and eights. Yep. Well, when we left Deadwood, we went out to Tatanka. If you saw the movie Dances with the Wolves, you remember them talking about Tatanka. Now, in Tatanka were actually the bison. Kevin Costner actually commissioned this artwork, and it was like 20 million, wasn't it, Charlie?
It's millions of dollars, and these are all bronze statuary. They're larger than life size, but it gives you a depiction of the Native Americans driving the bison into a gorge where the bison would fall and be injured, and they could go in and kill what they needed for food and sustenance and hides and that sort of thing.
And from there, we went out to Little Bighorn. Now, the ranger on the left absolutely was phenomenal. He made us feel like we were right in the middle of this battle. And all along, as you go up behind where he was, is where the battle actually took place. There were the Lakotas and they weren't Sioux. The Sioux Indians actually is made up of the Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota nations. But every place that a U.S. soldier fell, there's a white marker. And you see the one for George Custer, because that's where he fell. And then we went from there, we drove through the Black Hills. Now, this is this is not as high we got. We got up to what, Charlie?
9,000 feet.
9,000 feet.
Yeah.
But this, as you're driving through the Black Hills, it really reminded us of being in the Black Forest in Germany, because it was just absolutely beautiful. We went into Cody, Wyoming, and we happened to get there on July the 3rd. So on July 4th, they truly celebrate the 4th of July. They have this huge parade there.
The entire population of Cody is only about 10,000, and there's 15,000 people or more that show up for this parade.
And the people that live there actually go out the night before, and they take their lawn chairs and they rope them together and put locks on them so that they'll have a place to sit. It's really interesting. But this is the Wild Bill Cody Museum, and I'm sorry, Wild Bill Cody, Buffalo Bill Cody, Wild Bill Hickok, Buffalo Bill Cody. This is the Buffalo Bill Museum, and we spent probably 2 hours or so there. It was really, really, really interesting. From there, we went to Yellowstone, and this is one of the first stops that we made. This is the Niagara Falls of Yellowstone, and this little bench that Charlie and I are sitting on is called the Kissing Bench, and so everybody has to sit there and get pictures of each other kissing. But you can see that waterfall. It was just beautiful. We got to Old Faithful Inn, and we stayed there for a couple of nights. At Old Faithful, they have a thing posted inside the lobby of the hotel that tells you when the geyser is going to erupt. And it'll say it'll be between 2:27 and 2:32, so that you know that it's going to erupt at that time. Now, how they know it, I don't know. But we got there, and instead of walking up to it like all those people did, there was an outdoor veranda, and we sat on it and could see it perfectly. And this big boy right over here, we were having dinner at Old Faithful Inn, and he just kind of ambled up into this little fenced area. He probably weighed.
He was having dinner.
Yeah, he probably weighed 2,500 pounds easily. But he was really, really close to us. It was interesting because our guide had told us we might or we might not see wildlife. Well, we got into the park and we saw a herd of about between 200 and 300 bison. It was phenomenal, and we saw them everywhere. We saw bear cubs, we saw elk, we saw everything. These are called the mud pots, and mud pots and the geysers are all over Yellowstone, and the sulfur smell is unbelievable. But the one on the right erupted just as we were standing, not more than about 30 feet from it behind the fence, and we got sprayed with all that mess. These are elk just out roaming by one of the ends. You can see, I mean, they were just walking down the street. And here we are in the Grand Tetons. So when we left Yellowstone, we had this absolutely beautiful drive through the Grand Tetons. And
That's beautiful.
isn't that gorgeous?
It looks like
And this photo does not do it.
No.
Wow.
I mean, it was just unbelievable.
What a pretty day.
It was. This is the hotel that we stayed at on the left when we got to Jackson Hole, and every single room was a cabin. So we had our own little private cabin, and it was so neat. You could sit out on your front porch. It was just a fun.
Was that the Rustic Inn?
Yes. We love it.
One of our favorite stops I hear about.
It really is. And the wagon train you see there is they took us to a barbecue by wagon train. We had to climb into the wagon trains and take it out. It was probably 5 miles by train. It was really neat to do. The next day we did a float trip on the Snake River, and it was very, you can see the water is pretty mild. There were a few places where there was some very mild white water that we did, but you have a guide, and the guide is the one who actually paddles you down the river. As we were going down, we were going down kind of sideways, and as the raft turned, somebody said, "There's a moose! This big moose
They're just walking along.
just walking in the water."
Oh, no, don't pay attention to the sea here.
And then Charlie was taking pictures of an eagle, wasn't it?
Yeah,
An eagle.
swooped down right to left, grabbed a fish out of the water and flew off.
A huge eagle. We also had to stop at the $1 Million Cowboy Bar, which is one of the most famous places in Jackson Hole. And as you see, the bar stools are actually saddles. So it was just a fun place to go one afternoon. The last place we went was to Salt Lake City, and that's where we ended. And this is the Mormon Tabernacle there. On the left, that's the outside. On the right is the inside. So you can see where that choir would be. But that was pretty much our trip. But it was an unbelievable trip. And Charlie and I have traveled all over the world, and I think both of us were so shocked and surprised at how gorgeous it was. It was just
I was pleased. I was really happy with it, and the quality of the hotels and the guide and the driver and every aspect of this trip was just top notch.
It really was.
You know.
We've done
All done by me. All organized and I did pretty good, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
What was your question, Leanne?
How many days was that?
That trip was, let's see, we were gone 9 days, 10 days.
10
10
days. Yeah.
And so they take care of everything. You don't have to, it's like a no-brainer. You don't have to plan anything on your own.
Nope. They say be here at 8:30, and that's all you got to worry about.
The only thing that you have to take care of is they include breakfast every day, and I think we had 4 or 5 dinners that were included, and we had to pay for lunch and the other dinners that we didn't pay.
Yeah.
But everything else was. And I love, one thing I love that they do, the hotels are located very, very centrally, so that if you can get out and walk, you can get around and do things. Now, Yellowstone, that's another story.
If you're strapped to your hotel, if you're strapped to your cell phone or your email account or something like that, you're going to be an unhappy camper in Yellowstone, because internet service is either super spotty or non-existent, and so is cell phone service.
Good. You don't need it on vacation anyway.
That's all true.
But we had no TV, we had no phone, we had no internet.
Perfect.
And it got cold at night. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
one night in Yellowstone, it got down in the 30s.
This is in July.
Yeah,
Wow.
Okay.
for real. But
It was cold enough that we had some
fun.
people getting off fleeces.
yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it was just a great trip. It really was.
What were you going to say, Leanne?
Charlie, I had a group that went, I guess, last year. They had so much fun that the group's going again. It was a sole use coach. So now that a lot of people couldn't make it onto it because it filled up, that the agent is doing it again so that people can go again. And there are people that have already done are going back again.
It's just
I'm
wonderful.
not surprised.
No.
And the thing of it is that one of the downsides to it is that it, in some respects, is a whirlwind trip. And if we go back to Deadwood, there are things that I'm not going to have to try to see again that we're going to take time to go see, like where Calamity Jane's buried and Wild Bill Hickok's buried and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they couldn't take the motor coach up because where the cemetery is this little tiny, narrow, winding road, and they just couldn't get it up there.
How do they suggest you get up there, Charlie? Maybe take a taxi or something up there?
Or walk.
So is that close?
I didn't see any taxis.
No, it wasn't. It's not that far. It's 4 blocks.
It's kind of like Deadwood's kind of like Lynchburg, Tennessee. There's not a whole lot there.
Oh, the postage stamp.
It's very tiny. So what do you guys?
As far as the size of the bus and stuff, I know you said that it was seated 55, but you only had 40 some on the coach. Do you? My husband and I are both big people, tall and large, so don't know. You know, we've been on some bus things, didn't really do that well on them.
We have there is the space. There are measurements that the companies do between competitors, and we have the large. Us and Insight have the largest reclining and leg room and seat configuration pretty much in the industry. And I'm 6'3", 280, so I'm a big guy too. And Charlie's no small fella. So I mean, there's plenty of room. I don't feel like I'm cramped at all. Charlie, you didn't feel like you were kind of squeezed in there too much, did you?
No, and as a matter of fact, we used the extra space. There were times that Sherrie and I would split up, and I'd have a row by myself.
I do know in talking to some of the executives at Globus, and Eric, I'm sure they've told you guys this already, that they're going to cut down even on the number from 44. It'll be a smaller number even because of COVID. They're going to
maybe every other row.
Yeah,
we maybe do 2 motor coaches instead of 1.
Right.
And that's not necessarily because of size, people's size or whatever. So social distancing kind of rules.
Right.
They're still tweaking all that, try to determine how the best to handle that. And boy, that would be nice. Can you imagine if you had every other row and you had 2 motor coaches going? Obviously, it's a bigger expense for us, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, if we don't do those types of things, we'll never fill them up anyway. So we're anticipating adjusting appropriately. Either we fill a motor coach up and maybe divide by 2, or you just do smaller tours, smaller like we do on our exotics, where we only have 20 people anyway. So we feel we can still make money at 30. So we may take a motor coach with only 30 passengers and space them out accordingly. And that would be great because there's a chance I would be able to get 2 seats and spread out. But, it's a day by day. We're waiting. We're determining how best to move forward and be as safe as possible. It's a new world, and we're trying to adjust accordingly.
I have confidence that
Are you flying into Rapid City and then flying home from Salt Lake City? Or?
Yes.
Exactly.
That's what we did.
Good catch. Good catch.
We sure did. We flew into to Rapid City one day, and then the tour started the next day. And one thing that I like that Globus does is on the first night, they had like a small little cocktail party for everybody. So you get to meet other people, and you have the opportunity to meet your tour director. They'll give you the instructions for the next day. They always will tell you what time you have to have your luggage out. You don't have to worry about taking your luggage down. You don't have to worry about having it delivered to your room. They take care of all of that, which is great.
Yeah, they just make sure just when you get to the bus, does that look like your luggage going on the bus? Fine. And then you just set it out in the morning. It's on the bus. And when you get off at the end of the day, it goes straight up to your room. You don't have to lug it around. We take care of all that.
Yeah. Leanne, to your point about taking care of everything, I'm not a big baggage handler. Now, it's included, one bag is included. We had a carry-on bag that had my computer and a bunch of stuff in it that I really didn't want somebody else handling or taking care of. So we took care of that, of taking it to the room and getting it back out to the bus. But the services that we had were exemplary.
It's one bag per person, one large bag per person.
Right.
But if you have a carry-on, there's not room on the bus, but you can put it underneath, which is fine.
Right. Yeah.
The overhead's really kind of small.
Yeah,
It's good to have maybe a small backpack that you can kind of maybe squeeze up on the top. Medicines, cameras, things that you need to have with you and not under the bus. But there's not a lot of room in the motor coach for, bigger bags, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
What else can one answer?
I don't know. It sounds very nice. It sounds like something that we would be interested in.
Good. Good.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. When I talk about these vacations there's typically men are the hardest to get on because they've been traveling maybe with their business their whole life. And I did a presentation a number of years ago, and I had a group that had done one tour, and they were coming back and they were doing the same tour, kind of meant, like I mentioned before, it's a completely different agency. And the one guy, and I'm sitting in there, I'm looking at all the people. It was a group of probably 25 in a chamber meeting room. And the one guy that had been there before when I was promoting the group, he was sitting back. He was kind of maybe enjoying it, whatever. But you can tell body language, how people react. And he didn't look interested. 2 years later, we're promoting the same group. And I see the other guys in the group. They didn't go on the first trip. They went on the second. We're promoting the second trip. Now they're all sitting back going, yeah, okay, what's this guy trying to sell me? That kind of whole mumbo jumbo, kind of sitting back. And now the guy that had gone before, he's sitting up front, he's paying attention, whatever. And he raises his hand, which is always makes me very nervous sometimes. I want to talk about the old trip. Oh no, what's he going to say? I can't put the fire out too quick. And he goes, I sat here 2 years ago and I sat back and I poo-pooed all this. And I was like going, I'm going to go on a motor coach trip and drive me around. He goes, it was the best vacation I ever had. I could finally sit back. I could enjoy the vacation. I couldn't be driving the car when my wife said, hey, did you see that? No, I'm driving. I can't see nothing. So and I tell you what, I looked around the room and every one of those guys leaned up in their chair. They started paying attention to what I was talking about, not because of what I said, but because one of their colleagues there was telling. I wish I could get more vouchers. I said, thanks, Uncle Bob, whatever. But it was wonderful that he validated what I was telling them, and they filled that motor coach up again and did it all over again. And it's one of my big good group producers, and because gentlemen typically don't have the opportunity to, if they're driving, to share the vacation. This is a vacation where Everybody can enjoy it. They're all together. You don't have to worry about the details. Let us take care of them, and you guys go out and embrace the destination. That should be. So
We did a Globus tour in the British Isles and absolutely loved it. So they're all over the world. But we really feel like domestically, this is going to be the thing that's going to be big next year.
Yep.
Yeah. Probably.
I think so. Well,
Dennis, we'd love to have you. We're going.
yeah. Well, we're glad that you guys came and have some questions for Eric. If there's anything that we can do, any questions we can answer, you know, you can call us, you can call Sabrina, and we'll be glad to help you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you keeping us informed on everything, and like you've been doing since COVID has come around. I really appreciate that. So I've learned a lot from the different things that you have sent to us.
It's our pleasure.
Good. Thank you so much.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.